Hey everyone, and good morning. Welcome to Smite World Championship week number 3. The EU version is taking place right now. We're in the qualifiers. We're in ground 0, the round of 32 about to begin. But of course, I'm joined today by Hindu Man. How you doing today, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. I am looking forward to week 3 in the EU scene here. How about you, Drybear? Are you looking forward to these games?
I am. I really am. I think there's been a lot of hype building up around the first 2 weeks. Obviously, NA a little more locked in than EU. EU is kind of up for grabs right now with first and second tied up in the seeding charts. And of course, we always have the hungry teams coming up from below.
Teams.
Bloody Tech, we've talked about them a lot. Exposed Secrets, we've talked about them. There's still the teams that are sponsored that have been performing to their peak. Either we have SK Gaming as well as Team Coast Blue sitting in the other side of the bracket coming up from the bottom here. And we actually have a pretty well balanced bracket as far as going forward goes. So definitely a lot to be looking forward for.
So I have one question for you. It's only a small one to begin, first of all. Actually, it's two. The first one is this your perfect Sunday? Job done, guys. It's over. See? So...
Today, I think every Sunday is my perfect Sunday. Like, well, literally every Sunday.
Think about it. We get to cast EU Smite, and then on top of that, just after that, we then get to watch Game of Thrones!
Oh,
it's win-win!
My God, that's perfect!
See,
that is perfect. It's a good day. It is a great day.
Now, my other
Fantastic day.
My other question is, do you have a favorite team, or do you support one team over another?
I honestly, I really, as a caster, we have to be impartial, and I think the biggest thing for me is that I'm a lover of the game and the competitive scene that we watch, the things that we like to be involved with. I think the fact that there's always up for grabs is the biggest thing for me. Is that I want to understand, how things mold over time, because when there's new gods coming out, when there's new content coming out, when the meta starts to change a lot, that's when we really start to kind of key into what things are changing. And teams that seem like they're the greatest, like of course. Case in point, launch event, the 8 weeks in the qualifiers leading up to the event, Cardiff Game was undefeated. They went in and didn't even make it into the finals. And so that kind of separation is what I love so much about competitive Smite, is the fact that any team really has a chance to grab it if they're hitting that zone that day. Definitely. That's why I'm always excited for every single week.
Yeah, I've got to agree. It's very difficult. You've got to make sure you're not impartial in any situation whatsoever as a caster. You can't have a favorite team or anything like that. Sure. It just seems a bit wrong. So I'm looking forward to this one because we're going to be seeing, I believe it's Safari. I'm just checking my information.
Safari versus Superbia, that's right.
And whoever wins this will be facing Worth Gaming, who have a bye in the first round. But right. Worth Gaming are really on fire right now. They're doing great work, and I believe they finished 3rd last week. So oh no, that was Bloody Tech, wasn't it? Oh no, I'm getting myself all confused already. But anyway, they're one of the top 8 teams in Worth Gaming. That's why they've got a bye in the first week. So seeing them go into this next round is going to be interesting to see what Superbia and Safari are going to bring to the table to see if they can take them on. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's a lot going into this, right? I mean, you're looking at Bloody Tech. You're looking at Superbia. Superbia has 2 teams, of course. This is going to be the main Superbia. There is another Superbia team that you have to be wary of. But Superbia is a team that's been performing pretty well. Now, they're kind of slow on the uptake. They're getting used to the meta and the changes they need to kind of implement. I think the biggest thing about new teams is that they'll go into scrims and they'll practice. They'll get the jungle routes down. They'll get their farming down. They'll get their team fight comps down. I think the biggest thing that teams really have to understand when they're making the jump from moderate to the top level, where they're finishing the top 8 every single week, is they have to understand what to do with a lead. We saw that last week.
Oh,
a team that got ahead but then never did anything with it. You have to push for objectives. You have to push for towers, phoenixes. You have to do something, accomplish something with that lead, which a lot of the newer teams don't understand yet. And so once they start to hit that stride, you'll start seeing them perform very, very well. Now we're going to be hopping into picks and bans here. First bans are going to come out. It's going to be Bastet, no surprise there, and Odin as well. Odin, and then across the way, Sanukong. The top 2 supports are out of the game.
Doesn't surprise me whatsoever to see those 2 being banned out, but it does open the meter up once again to see some more of these Guardians coming in. We've seen the likes of Bacchus and Kumbhakana starting to show their face again in competitive play, so it's going to be interesting to see. Humbats wasn't banned out here, though. It was right. Poseidon, and we saw Poseidon in the tournament yesterday. MLC Stealth, he really showed how good Poseidon can be in that mid lane on those fast rotations.
Yeah, I mean, Poseidon's such a fantastic character, and for a lot of reasons. I think the biggest thing for him is that he ended up getting picked up for quite a while. Now, Scylla and Shibboleth Locked in
Spelunky?
here. Now this is weird, right? Because we have the two supports blocked away. You'd think they'd be scrambling to pick up the supports right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Then
Yeah.
again, the pool after Sun Wukong and Odin is pretty open. They're all around the same level of quality, and so maybe they're just not really prioritizing it that high. But again, Xbalanque picked this early is very irking to me, considering the fact that Xbalanque is a character that can be countered so heavily. Now they did already lock in the Ur, so that's really important because you want to make sure that the character you're going up against in the lane is one you're comfortable with as Xbalanque, because it's early.
Yeah.
1 through 6 is the worst part about him. He just doesn't have the push to keep up, and that's his weakest point of the game ever, is the first 6 levels where he's in the laning phase and can't keep up with the push. So it looks like Guan Yu's going to be locked in. Zeus is hovering on. He'll be locked in as well. I'm baffled by these picks right now.
Well, the Zeus pick up there against Scylla in that lane matchup. They both have a very weak early game anyway. But what we'll see from Zeus is he'll transition quicker to the mid game and actually be more useful for the team in the mid game scenario. As the game goes on, however, we can already see some Safari gaming that with Scylla and Xbalanque. As the game goes on, their damage is going to escalate dramatically for these team fights. So it's going to be interesting to see. It looks like Superbia is going for a very mid-esque sort of team composition here so far, with the Guan Yu picked up as well to help Ula out in the early game. I'm interested to see the Ula versus Xbalanque matchup because it's not one I've really seen that much.
It's going to be painful for Xbalanque. I mean, it always is painful for Xbalanque, but Urut is a character that can really hit home with the push, bladed arrow, hail of arrows, a lot of control there, and of course does have high mobility. So, he's definitely a character that has a whole lot of harassment, also a lot of character that has a lot of push, and so you have to be careful with how things work with that. Looking to the next banning phase, the next bans that come out here, I imagine they want to go for a jungler of some sort, just kind of slow it down. Looks like it's going to be Thanatos, actually. Surprisingly enough, Thanatos is a character we don't really see all that often due to his late game slowdown. He just kind of falls off very late. And then Hunbat, so same kind of situation.
Hunbat doesn't surprise me in the ban. The Thanatos ban, though, feels to me that, look at Safari game, we can see that they're going for a very late team comp with the Scylla and the Xbalanque. And Thanatos is one of these that snowballs very, very early. So if he did get ahead in the jungle, it could cause a lot of issues for Safari gaming, which makes a lot of sense for why they'd look to ban out someone like Thanatos in this situation. He's not one we see that often nowadays, but he is still, he's still viable. He still does the job of what he's there sets up to do.
Yeah, it's a very fantastic point. In fact, pretty much everyone they have there is going to be a late game scale. Xbalanque and Scylla, especially Boxer, also a very high damage. They just don't want to deal with the fact that when they get in, get damage, and get out, and they're low, they don't want to be executed. They don't have to deal with the early game scaling that Thanatos is so well known for. I mean, he's pretty much just early game as it stands right now, and then of course late game, there's a lot more considerations he has to deal with. But he's so powerful early that it would shut down characters like Bakasura and Scylla pretty easily. In fact, Thanatos ganking at Scylla and Ra actually is quite strong. So now it looks like we're going to be holding on to the lineup as it stands right now. Boxer are locked in across the way for Superbia to see what they want to go with. They don't have a jungler here really unless they want to send the Guan Yu down that route. So it looks like they're going to be hovering on something. I mean, Tyr's still available. They still have a lot of options. There's Tyr. And Freya actually. And so those two hovered on right now.
Well, Tyr can go into the solo lane, as we know, and so can Freya. However, I think Tyr will have a better matchup overall against Ra than a Freya would, especially during the early stages. But putting Freya in the jungle during the early game, she has a weak early game in the jungle. She needs to get going, and her ganks generally rely just on the whoop to land. The banish is very, very important in that. But against a Bakasura, I think that's not too bad a matchup for Freya in the jungle.
Sure, yeah. Freya definitely has something that, not a whole lot of junglers have in the way that the banish is a guaranteed couple hits. 2 hits usually as they're falling down. You also have the ultimate for finishing off. So early, Freya can actually be very, very effective, almost to a pseudo Thanatos level. The problem is Freya has a lot more on the line early. She can fall behind. She doesn't have the mobility, and she doesn't have the ultimate that's as easy to escape as Thanatos' ultimate. Valkyrie Discretion is powerful, don't get me wrong, but it's also one of those things where you know where she's going to land and she can't travel very far. So that's definitely something to think about. The last pick here for Safari is going to be Bacchus to lock this all in. A very aggressive tank here. Now with Sun Wukong, Odin, and Guan Yu all gone, Bacchus is certainly a high consideration. I think he fits really well with what they have going.
Yeah, well, he's he's basically third most picked support right now, behind Odin and Sun Wukong. Obviously, we see some Guan Yu, but at the moment, Bacchus is really starting to make a statement once again to say that he's one of these great supports that can help out his team. The belly flop, the belch of the gods, and then obviously when he has the drunkometer, he does the additional things of obviously slowing the team as well as forcing the stun with the belch of the gods. And one thing to note as well, Drybear, we've not mentioned on it just yet, but the healing reduction changes overall as well. Those healing reduction changes means that Bacchus's Belch of the Gods does 25% reduced healing, which it used to do anyway, but then now stacks with other items like...
No, it
Vision
always
Curse.
stacked before. Sobek was the one that got fixed.
Oh, was
Sobek
it just
was
Sobek?
the only one, yeah. Sobek
Yeah.
was the only one that wasn't working properly. So Bacchus will be continue on there. Now, they do have Guan Yu, who doesn't really have the greatest healing in the world, but it also will affect a little bit of the guard stance power cleave from Tyr, of course, and a little bit of lifesteal from Freya from Brick Sigmund's Blessing. On her passive. But as far as this lineup goes, I mean, looking at Safari, very, very, very late game. And you look at Superbia, very well balanced. And you can see that on the charts as well. A lot of late game potential coming out from Superbia. So, you know, across the board, I think they certainly have a lot of opportunities. But I think if Superbia gets ahead, Safari does not have a come from behind team lineup as it stands right now. So everything is going to be on them. We're going to cut to a brief break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go right into the first game of today. The round of 32 is taking off. You're at ground zero. This is the start of the tournament. Myself, Dry Bear, as well as my co-caster today, Hindu Man. We'll be right back. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the first round of the day. Round of 32 is underway. This is going to be the first matchup here. And we're watching Superbia on the bottom side of the map. The green grass defending the Titan of Order is going to introduce the players. Kirsty is going to be in the jungle here with Freya. Now, of course, like on the right side, the solo lane, it's looking like it's going to be Tyr played by Sodom. Vekin on Zeus in the mid lane. We rode that one up. And, of course, across the way, Ur is game on the Hunter role, and his support will be Gashi.
And on the other side, we're going to be seeing Safari Gaming fighting from the top half of your map on the right side of your spectator UI. Giraffe Man representing Safari Gaming on Scylla in the mid lane. Hinisti is going to be on the Jabalonke. Steady Bear on Raw. The Pyro Cat, I had to just double check that. So that right, the Pyro Cat is going to be playing Bakasura in the jungle. And finally, Hawkeye going to be landing those turkey leg auto attacks on Bacchus in the duo support.
Looking at the charts right now, I mean, nothing really too surprising. We're to see Scylla start with that pot there in the mid lane. Looks like she's going to be kind of holding that one down. And honestly, not really all that surprising, considering the fact that it's really important for them to be able to get the push off early. Now, one thing that's strange about Safari is their lineup here. They're actually going to lose both buffs on the right side if things continue as they are. They're going to do blue buff, damage buff, and mid cam. At the same time, Zeus and Tyr have spotted it out. They're going to start blue buff the right side. Take this out. Unfortunately, they hogged before the chain lightning, but they'll be able to get this one. Now, they might be privy to what's going on and go over the movement speed buff. Oh, they're not going to spot it. They're going to back off here, it looks like, and just going to go back to the lane.
I mean, Superbia know he's not started on the red-hand side. They've got a ward in that speed buff camp at the moment to give away that they've not done it. So when we do see Ra finally get over there, he's not going to be happy to find out that his blue buff's gone. He's going to be like, why did we start on the red side, guys? I don't understand it, because that's the reason why you see this happen so often, and the jungler always starts on the side of the solo lane to protect those buffs in the early game.
Left side, we see Guan Yu take a lot of harassment here from Shibalanke and Bacchus early on, but of course he does have that heal to keep himself sustained early. Shibalanke is going to be a lot of point of contention here for Safari. Of course, his early push is quite weak in the laning phase, and what he struggles with is keeping up with the lane push of characters like Ur here. So he's going to be on the backside, making sure that he uses as much as he can to play the wave out. Looking for it, not going to find it.
Already. No, he got unlucky there in the situation. He did actually miss the Fearless, but Pyro Cat was aware on that Bacchus.
Yeah, good initiation though. Definitely.
Yeah, he's definitely looking for it already, and that's because of the advantage they built up already by taking away that blue buff at the start of this game. Just denying him that very, very early start to the level.
Yeah, applying pressure is always a good thing. And the biggest thing here is that, Bakasura is a character that has decent mobility, actually good jungle clear, but I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with Tyr. Tyr, really the only downside of his jungle is early. If Tyr doesn't really get enough gold or experience at the beginning of the game, it's tough for him. It seems like he's going to get plenty here with that blue buff start. Now getting the blue buff yet again, going back over the right side and go up against the Ra you mentioned earlier. That's right.
Oh, wow, nice axe. He does go down. Ul's going to pick up the first blood there. And that's one of the issues Safari Gaming have in this lane, is that early clear is very, very weak, Drybear.
That's right. Yeah, they're going to push up to the tower every single time. The Shibalonke is going to be on the back foot, and now with Bacchus going down, that makes it even worse.
Yeah, it's going to make it even harder for this lane. Ul's going to get an advantage. Guan Yu, with his mobility, be able to jump around. He's going to be able to rotate for those mid-camps a lot easier, and you'll see Bacchus having to babysit the lane a little bit more. So Hawkeye has his work cut out in this game right now.
Shibalonke forced to use Rise of Jaguar there to clear the wave on the left side of the map, push back to the tower here as Udyr is just continually pushing this wave so hard. Bacchus is forced to use Belly Flop and Belch the Gods repeatedly to try and get that up here. Bacchus started out showing up at the mid camps. Oh man, Bacchus ended up going over to the mid camp, see if they were down a little bit early here. They won't be responding for about 30 seconds or so. Actually a little bit more than that, about 40 seconds. So waiting for those to come back up, so go to the back camps, but Bacchus falling a little bit behind, but not too bad.
Yeah, he's still kind of even at the moment with Freya in the jungle. Freya did just back, so that he should be able to catch up and be on around even terms at the start of this one. He will be behind because of that blue steal at the start of the game, though, because Bakasura did lose that, but he did take his red earlier, so that's also going to be the downside to him there. He's currently wandering around looking for something to do because all his camps are down. He should probably look at trying to get into one of these lanes, maybe mid and soak up a little bit of experience, or trying to apply some pressure to Zeus.
Yeah, and I think that was really interesting about Zeus and Scylla. Zeus is actually just conquering this lane. Scylla's pushed back entirely. And also, the biggest downside of that is Scylla ended up going for the pot first, and Zeus didn't. And so that means that she is now going to be behind 400 gold, didn't really do anything with that pot. And I think the biggest thing just comes down to individual play. Scylla has not been aggressive this lane. If you're going to win the mid lane in Scylla, you have to be aggressive. You can't sit back and rely on Crush, because Crush doesn't do a whole lot early on. Left camp can spawn, go straight to Safari, right camp about to respawn here.
Oh. Gonna have to see Pyrocat be careful in this situation. He may get caught out of position here. He's gonna rotate round, but he does go over to Superbia there. Pyrocat happy to just walk away, didn't panic or anything like that. Uses his leap to get out of trouble. So mid camps do get split this time round. However, the advantage is definitely in Superbia's favor.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, far and away. You look at the gold here. Udin is going to be sitting at 3K. Shibalanke is at 2,400. So 600 individual gold between the hunters, and that's just because every single wave has been in tower range for Shibalanke. He's losing gold on literally every single minion that comes in because he's being pushed back so hard. And this is really the downside of Shibalanke. He can't reliably control the lane while it's being pushed up.
Oh, I love what Superbia are doing here. They're already rotating around for this Mana camp on the duo side to deny this. They can see the vision of this Safari Gaming, but there isn't a whole lot they can do about this. Pyrocat does take his red buff, though, and he was aware in the area in case something did happen. But nice advantage from Superbia again, denying buffs. Pyrocat's going to get caught out of position. The banish does land, leaps away back to safety, though, to a disengage for the most part. Meanwhile, though, all trading with Shibalanke, and we can see the cavalry charge coming out, looking for the aggression. He does go into it. The ultimate comes out from Shibalanke, though, to stun them for the most part, but definitely a winning trade for Superbia there.
Right side, Ra getting low here, looking for the kill. Tyr just needs one more dash to do it. Can't get it with the slow from Divine Light, and that will be the end of that fight on the right side. Ra is being pushed back so hard. He's actually going to go home. A lot of tower damage will ensue is in his absence. Ra does not have teleport or any way to get back quickly, and so he's going to have to walk all the way back. This tower is going to take a lot of harassment. And, of course, with Boxer on the left side, if the communication is strong on Superbia, Tyr will know that he's perfectly safe to hit this. Actually, it looks like he's going to go straight back home.
I guess he's just taking the opportunity to go back. He's going to deny a bit of experience and a bit of gold to the tower. He could have taken some tower damage off that. Chose to buy instead for the time being. Superbia at the moment, though, like, they are ahead, but it's not a massive lead. Like, as they transition towards the mid-game, they really need to start applying the pressure, because that's where their team is really going to start to shine before we hit the late-game stages. Because if Safari Gaming can hold out until then, they're going to do a lot.
Fading the jungle here, looking for the damage buff, can't find it. Of course, Freya and Tyr are doing the blue buff. Boxer is incredibly underleveled right now. Level 6 versus the level 8 tier. Frey also at level 6 themselves. Now looking over, will they spot it out? Looks like they're not going to. Boxer's going to find out that he just got the back harpy. No blue buff, no damage buff. Rana being collapsed on. Frey looking for the banish, going to find it. Boxer already flanked a little bit, running away for a little bit of time, wasting some duration there as he gets thrown into the wall. There's the Boxer ultimate. Frey ulting up, and then in response here, gets the kill. Boxer taking tons of damage, jumps away, needs a banish to slow him down here, looking for the hit. There's the slow pulse going down. Tyr with the dunk on top. Lawbringer a one hit with that giant pirate sword. It's a double kill for Superbia.
Yeah, really good for Superbia there, and obviously one of those kills going into Sodom as well. With that Lawbringer execution there, he's going to be able to get some free tower damage off here, and that's really going to help him out in the lane against Ra. I feel in that gank Steady Bear on that Ra, he juked himself into a bad spot overall. Like, he did a good job of escaping to initiate, but he wanted to stay in his healing circle, and it cost him his life in the end.
It really did. And honestly, he kind of, I think he teeter-tottered a little bit. He wanted to go to the mid camp, he wanted to go back to the lane, went to the mid camp, went to the lane, and you're like, you know, I probably should help Ra. But his indecision in the beginning is what caused Ra to take so much damage early on. He got there a little bit late, the positioning was already down. Now, granted, Boxer ulted as Tyr was using the Fearless, but it was a little bit too late in the positioning sense. Now Boxer jumping in here, looking for it. Iron Monster going to hit no one there. Guan Yu horse is out. Boxer already used the jump, he can't go anywhere. The lightning from above will take him out. And of course, the Sikkim and Crush not landing in response. Guan Yu, Tyr, and Zeus perfectly safe. Both mid-caps going to Superbia. That's a big loss for Safari.
It is a big loss for Safari, and as I just said, Dry Bear, like, the transition into mid-game, we're starting to reach that slowly now, and already Superbia are realizing their composition is built around the mid-game and really starting to push the pressure onto Safari and take this advantage that we started with and put it to good use.
Uhr is going to be picking up the movement speed buff this time around as they look for some harassment here in the mid lane. Not going to find it. So Uhr going to pick up the movement speed buff. Now he's going to be limited in the mana aspect. Didn't go over Transcendence either. But this also means that Guan Yu will pick up the next blue buff and will be able to use that to high effect, invading a lot here. Blue buff on the left side, not spawning it, just looking for it. Tyr's also invading at the same time, looking for the movement speed buff. Raz rotating over as a 2 versus 1, but Bakasura is level 7. The Fearless looks for the Hog, not going to find it. Fearless in the guard stance, switching over to Assault stance pretty soon here, looking for it. The ultimate comes out. There goes, looking for the hit. No CC immunity, needs to do something soon. Bakasura doing huge damage. One more hit will do it. Needs to use the ult. Gets out just in time somehow, some way. Still is there. Sicko, Crush, not going to hit. Bakasura, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's a hit. The Detonator does not finish him off there. Eats a minion from his Scylla. She's still going. She wants to get the kill. Chasing down the tier 2 tower. Not going to find it here as Bakasura makes it back to the mid tower.
Overall, over there, we can see straight away the pressure onto Pyrocat still coming out large. The leap in from Ul's not going to be getting him in close enough range, though. But now they can start to look and steal away some more buffs and gain that XP advantage even further right now. So great work from them. And that all stemmed from basically Tyr. I felt Tyr kind of baited a little bit too hard for his team there, but he did survive at the end of the day. Like he hung around for as long as he could to make sure that his team could rotate, and nobody died in that situation. But in the end of the day, Superbia do come out on top because they stole away buffs once again.
Oh, initiation on the left side, looking for a little harassment. Vanish going to come out on Shibalonke. They're not going to go for it, though. They're going to let that one slide. And honestly, I think the situation that was so poor for Safari in the last engagement is Raw is just, you could feel the fear. He was afraid of Tyr.
Yeah, he was.
Looking for it left side. Ignition's on the tower. The horse is coming out here. Huge damage to Shibalonke. No dash available. There goes the hit. Guan Yu getting in the range, but the Mage's going to do a lot of damage here. They might get the kill here on Guan Yu. One more will do it. No shot. Bakasura gets He's still alive. Can he get out of here? Bakasura trying to chase down the belt of the gods will take him out. Shibalonke for Guan Yu. Not that bad of a trade, but Bakasura is not done yet as Rod goes down in the solo lane. There goes the ult. Ult in response. Boom, boom, boom. Comes out from Freya right outside. Now Uhr looking for the kill here. Can he find it? There goes the hit. One more shot will do it, but doesn't have the distance. Scylla coming out here. Needs Iron Monster to get the kill. Misses that one. And now they be backing off as Zeus comes over. The fight continues.
Yeah, the fight is going to continue. Going to back out for the time being. Meanwhile, in the solo lane, we did see Tyr take down Ross solo in that situation. Did miss it off camera because of all the action on the side. But that whoop from Freya was massive. It was so close to saving Guan Yu's life there. In that over there is crazy. So 6-1 now in favor of Superbia. Goal difference is 4,000 in favor of Superbia, and experience is just over 5,000 as well. Tyr in the middle though, he does catch out Bakasura, caught out of position. Just lack of warding to give away his position there to let him know that he was on the rotation.
Well, he's just so far behind right now. 0-3-1. He's sitting at level 8. In fact, he's going to be the lowest level in the game. His support Bacchus is higher level than him. And just to the fact that he's been spending so much time trying to get that big win, that big gank, that big initiation, that he's just not able to get the clear. You're exactly right. Every time he goes for a gank and it fails, he has to go home. He has to go heal. He's not getting experience. He's not getting gold from the jungle. And then also allows Superbia to invade and steal away his buffs. They've gotten, upwards of 6 or 7 buffs away from his jungle at 11 minutes. That is just absolutely crippling.
Yeah, at times like this, when you're a jungler in this situation, you want to just play safe and farm as much as possible. Farm as much as possible. So at the moment though, Bacchus gonna get himself caught out of position here because Zeus is behind him as well. The cavalry charge comes out, gonna stun him out. He does pop the Intoxicate, not enough damage though, so a free kill for Zeus in mid lane. Now they can rotate and push mid.
Tower's gonna be guaranteed. There's nothing they can do to defend it. They honestly shouldn't even go over there. Tyr looking for the blink. Gonna find it. Scylla knocked up. Fearless, there's the knockup. Frey looking for the kill as well. Can't she get the distance? This looks like a free kill for them. Iron Monster coming out. Not gonna be able to finish the animation there. And of course, in the meantime, the Gold Fury has been started by Guan Yu and Uhr. They're going to be able to take this out pretty easily. Shibalonke can do nothing about it. At this point, it is a very tough battle for Safari.
It is a tough battle for Safari. It's a real uphill struggle. If they can hold the towers they've got here, though, and just turtle defensively, for the most part, but Frey's not going to allow that. As you can see, the Rising Jaguar coming out, trying to defend himself. Going to go down, though, just from the auto attacks from Curse U. Another kill drops again in that duo lane. And look at the whole team is rotated over Driver. They're working so well on communication right now.
Don't defend it, Bacchus. Just let this one go. He's got nothing. He doesn't even have an ultimate available. He does have an no ultimate available for him. He's coming up pretty soon here. I gotta trust my instincts on that one. I watched the gems. They ship positions right as I looked at it. There's like a little gem up there. And I was like, wait, I could have swore he just used it. But you can see that this issues that Safari have had. When we talked about this in the previous stage, the fact they're not a comeback team. You have high late game scalers. Not a whole lot of team fight prowess from them. They're leaning on Bacchus a lot, but they just they don't have the lineup that's good from behind. Now they can still pull this out. They have a lot of damage potential. If Superbia, the positioning is not there, if they're not prepared, still can one-shot somebody.
Oh, Pyro Cat's going to get caught out again in the jungle, trying to steal away the speed buff.
Too greedy.
He's trying to force an issue. That's the problem. I mean, to be fair to him, his whole jungle was down. The red buff had only just come back up as we were speaking about that. So he's trying to get XP where he can. He should try and be picking it up in lanes, really, not going in the enemy jungle, especially without vision control.
Oh yeah, it's by design. I mean, honestly, the reason he has nothing to farm is because Superbia has been doing so well in preparing that. And so you really have to kind of give credit to them in the way they force him out there. Bog is jump over the wall, intoxicates Guanyu into response. Zeus to come from above. The lightning strikes down. Bog is going to go down here instantaneously. And another pick for Superbia.
I think Bacchus just went too aggressive there, hoping his team were going to come in, but I don't think Jablonki was really in a great position to help him out there, especially against the 3 members of Superbia who were in the area. Now Scylla's got to be careful of the rotation round to mid lane from those 3 members again. Nice second though, landed on Togoshi as he backs away with the Sentinel. But one thing I do want to shout out to is Sodom on that tier has done a fantastic job of, after taking the tower, rotating and helping out his team, using that lead to his advantage. He's in trouble again.
Here. He's got to jump. He's got to do something. He doesn't have it. Frail's coming out there. 1, 2, and 3 shots coming out. Just a little bit more to go. Scylla getting cut out. Bursted down by Zeus here in the backside. Jablonki looking for Frey. The backpedaling has begun. Fearless coming out here on the right side looking for Raw. We're going to find Raw. Now turning attention to the mid lane here. Looking for Bogus. Jablonki goes down as well. It's a 3-for-0 exchange in favor of Superbia. Now looking for Bogus. Bogus jumps away. The Denny's going to come out in a second. There goes the kill. Zeus gets it. Bogus are just now respawning, but what can he do? There's an ocean of blue. Is he going to go in for this?
He is. He's going to pop the regurgitate and look for the damage. He's not really doing too much though because such a slow, low level. Sodom does a lot of damage overall, but he does get help from the tower, so he's going to pick up a kill. Bacchosaurus back in this one, Dry Bear. He's back in it. I can feel.
Got sodomized there.
The dream.
Force out. They got it. They got the kill, but how much was it really worth is the question. It was a 4, actually it was a 5-for-1 exchange, considering the fact that Bacchus ended up dying in the beginning of that engagement, and of course forcing it away. So, you know, really big exchange there for Superbia. 16-2 right now. Looking at the charts, they're 10,000 gold in the lead, 15,000 experience in the lead. Now, Safari, they're showing signs of life. They're fighting under good positions, and that's really what's kind of been the unfortunate part about this game so far, Hindu, is the fact that, you know, Superbia hasn't been that safe. They've been very aggressive. They've been stealing buffs. They've been in their jungle, but Safari hasn't come together in a meaningful way to prevent it.
They've not had chance to really because Safari Gaming have controlled the map so well and rotated consistently to pick people off wherever possible. But look at this is a desperation fire giant and Zeus is in the area. The ward coverage from Superbia is fantastic here. Already forcing them away. Zeus with the detonate there, picking up the first kill as Bacchosaurus is going to go down. The fire giant doing a lot of damage onto Ra, who has to blink away. The whoop misses, but the Valkyrie does not as Curzhew secures another kill, and now Bacchus is going to run away with the belly flop as well. Used, and that's, I think this is pretty much game for Superbia. He's not finished, has he? Gosh, he's going to go for it. The cavalry charges out. He lands, and that is a dead Bacchus. The drinking is over. Go home, you're drunk, Hawkeye. Go home, you're drunk.
Now look at the fire dragon we started up here. Safari had, you know, they had the right idea in mind. They, you know, when you're this far behind and you have your late game comp, you got to look for something aggressive. You got to look for some kind of risk to get it back. Going, you coming out again, the hog there on the fire giant now secured here for Superbia. That just adds a little bit more pain for Safaris that they realize they're bearing down against Superbia with that fire giant buff. It's going to give them their generation in both HP and mana, but also gives them a lot of magical and physical damage, making them do more damage overall across the team. Even characters like Guanyu, who really haven't purchased any damage items besides that word top B, are now going to be doing a lot more with that fire giant buff. And so Safari really has to be careful. The next engagement for Safari has to be perfect or they're going to lose this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they're going to start attacking this solo lane tower right now. The pressure is on. You can already see Goshi doing some great work, tanking up for the most part. Scylla is rotating around, so Ul's going to be careful. He gets hit by the Sikkim and the Crush, but not a lot of damage coming out there. She is only level 13, and Tyr comes in, cleans up the kill with the Fearless combination. Ul securing that one for his team, and the whole team of Superbia working well to transition and communication to continue this push.
Looking for it, go on here on the right side. They're slowing down the tower. Tyr inside. Fearless.
Oh, that lob
damage is huge! Ra going down. Then Bacchus in a lot of trouble. The huge burst coming through there, and that is going to be curtains for them. Bacchus is taking a peek, but Udo doesn't appreciate it. Looking for the axe. Can he get the distance? He backpedals, pops out. They're turning around for the damage, but doesn't really have as much as he thinks he does. Jablonki joining in on the fight, but this is a perfect chance for a chain lightning storm from above. There goes Tier Freya from above. One explosion going to take him out here. Now looking for Boxura. Willie even chases. Honestly, this is a waste of time. Just go for the Phoenix.
Dada wants to kill. He wants to get himself in the history books as the one who got the most kills in this game, clearly. So he wants to continue chasing on. He's already 6-1-7, but Zeus has caught him up on kills. Phoenix goes down in middle, though, all going aggressive. Sentinel comes out as well from Scylla, defensively used to get back to tower, but now the rotation to right lane. I like Superbia this game, though. They've really done well on communication at the most part to make sure they've worked well to give vision to each other and support each other when they've gone aggressive.
Phoenix going down here in the mid. Phoenix on the right side going down. Looks like Superbia is going to take a very strong lead here. The gold is already skyrocketing. The experience is vastly in their favor. The fire is going to last a little bit longer here, but they're going to go home and heal on up. But I do want to take a moment to really give credit to Safari for coming out here today. It's obvious, they've preparation into their game. They seem to understand, exactly how to build their characters, how to prepare their characters, how to play. A lot of this also comes down to picks, and I think a lot of people really don't realize how important it is to understand the picks in Ban's phase. Yeah. I mean, games are won and lost in that arena, and it really just comes down to that. They obviously have the makings of a great team here, and the preparation they put in really shines, but Superbia is just that much more prepared.
Well, the picks that Safari Gaming have done are good gods overall. The biggest issue is, though, that they need somebody early game that's going to help them transition to this very late game team comp they've got. And because all the lanes were really struggling at the start, Bakasura in the jungle had a hard time trying to help them out, especially because he himself got behind in the jungle. So maybe just change one or two of these picks for a bit more early game composition, just to carry them into that late game where you see Scylla and Xbalanque shine.
Yeah, they're waiting for that to kind of start up here, but Superbia really took advantage of the early game. Looking for the tower here, looking to find. Honestly, don't even defend. I would just back off entirely, go back to Phoenix. Not where the Xbalanque was a bit wasted there. Oh, Box to go in a little bit premature. There's no one in position to defend him here. Raw's across the map. Scylla has to use escape. Box going very low. Box will get down. Now looking for Xbalanque in the backside. He's dropping very low. Guan Yu hits on top of that one. Now turning back towards Boxer, and Scylla will be able to get the kill here. The knock up into the wall. Looking for no Sentinel available. Scylla used it to get into the fight. Can't use it to get out of the fight. Boxer dropping low. Again, trying to pull them away from the Phoenix, but they are not deterred.
No, they're not deterred at all. I mean, Superbia fought that in a 4v5 situation. They had all 5 members together. Meanwhile, Raw was off split pushing. You can already see the Minotaur taking damage at the moment from those fire minions. And now the blinking from Tyr into the Fearless combo. Steady Bear's in trouble. Nice blink away back to the safety of the fountain. But he's not going to be able to help out. The Searing Pain goes out, but there's GG. Superbia are going to move on to this next round to face Worth Gaming.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's the completion there, and honestly, it was a fantastic match. And we talked about this, several times in the pick stage and also during the game, Hindu, the fact that, that was really a game of risk. That was a huge risk by Safari. They picked the latest game team possible, and they wanted to get that scale. They wanted to bring it together, and it's so hard to be able to kind of play that and really hope that you don't actually, lose the early game. Unfortunately enough, the early game was conquered by Superbia, and with that late game lineup, and with Boxer being as aggressive as he was, they were hoping for the moon there with their playstyle. And maybe, next week when they look at this and say, hey, we were just really greedy with how we built ourselves and how we prepared ourselves and what we're looking to accomplish there. And maybe next week, if I'm Safari, I try to dial it back. They're at like a 9 right now. I would dial it back to like a 5 or a 6 of aggression. So that's huge there.
Yeah, well, we're going to be able to see on your screens right now that final little kill from Sodom on Tyr, where he Lawbringers over the wall onto the Raw and immediately chains onto, as you can see on the screen now, chains the combination of the Fearless straight into it. And the amount of damage coming out just from that one character was absolutely amazing. You could really see by the end of the game, though, that the level difference was really starting to take effect. You see Scylla. She finished the game, Scylla in that game. Giraffe Man was level 14 in comparison to Zeus, who was level 19. Nobody, though, from Superbia actually got to level 20. That's how quick the game was. But they did a great job of communication overall. I want to give shout-outs to both teams because they both played well in their own different ways. Like, Superbia's communication was fantastic. I like the idea of what we saw from the red team on their combination. Now, looking for their combination of late game damage.
Definitely.
But they just need to work on the early game a little bit more. Play a little safe. If you're going to play a late game team comp, you really have to play safe early on. And unfortunately, we saw Superbia abuse that fact.
Yeah. Well, I think it also comes down to Xbalanque. If you're going to go for a late game team comp, you can't have Xbalanque in it because he's going to
Oh,
have a weak laning phase to start with. And if you want to pick Xbalanque, you have to have a strong early game to build around it and kind of have a good, high intensity jungler like Bastet coming over and helping the lane a lot and getting Xbalanque to that level that you want him to be at, especially against a character like Ur, who's, he's going to be very, very strong at pushing, and Xbalanque's going to have to fall back a lot, lose a lot of gold. In fact, even at, 8 minutes, we saw Xbalanque nearly 800 gold behind Ur individually. That's
yeah.
so hard to deal with
It's
starting
very
out. So,
difficult.
that's going to conclude this round, guys. Superbia is going to defeat Safari. Moving on, we're going to be going into SK versus Coast coming up
Ghost.
next. We're going to cut to a brief break, and we'll be right back.